Good afternoon. Welcome to the Thurston County Board of County Commissioners Board Meeting for Tuesday, August 17th, 2021. It's 2:01 p.m. My name is Ty Menser, Chair of the Board. In the boardroom, we're having a hybrid meeting today. In the boardroom is Vice Chair Commissioner Gary Edwards and Commissioner Carolina Mejia. County Manager Rena Chavez also there, and we have staff members participating by Zoom. The public can attend through our YouTube live stream, or the boardroom is open with limited capacity. We do have a mask mandate as per the county health officer's directive. So we're calling this meeting to order, and we'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance to be led by Vice Chair Edwards.
If you would join me, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you. We would also like to start today with the land acknowledgement. We would like to acknowledge the Indigenous Salish peoples who have lived on and cared for the land and waterways of this county since time immemorial and who still inhabit the area today, specifically the Squaxin Island, Nisqually, and Chehalis people, our sovereign tribal partners. I would contemplate a motion regarding the proposed agenda for today's meeting.
Yes, sir. I would move to approve the agenda for Tuesday, August 17th, 2021.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Call for the vote.
Commissioner Mejia? Aye. Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menser?
Aye. The motion carries. Agenda is approved. Is there a motion regarding board meeting minutes from August 10th?
Yes, sir. I would move to approve the board meeting minutes from August 10th, 2021.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Call for the vote.
Commissioner Mejia? Aye. Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menser?
Aye. Motion carries. Board meeting minutes approved unanimously from August 10th, 2021. Next is a Public Works presentation regarding the N1 Emergency Bridge Repair Project completion. Matt Unzelman is here on behalf of Public Works, one of our traffic engineers, supervisors. And Matt, we're looking forward to hearing what you have to say about our bridge project.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Menser. My name is Matt Unzelman. I'm pinch hitting for Scott Lindblom today, our county engineer. Today we want to provide a quick presentation on a recent emergency repair project that we recently completed on the Nisqually Cutoff Road Bridge. Next slide, Becky. So the Nisqually Cutoff Bridge is, Nisqually Cutoff Road itself parallels I-5 and comes off of the Martin Way interchange at the bottom, I always envision it as the bottom of the hill at I-5. And this portion of roadway is a critical piece of infrastructure. Next slide, Becky. This section of roadway is a critical piece of our infrastructure for a variety of reasons. The first is that on I-5, the two trestles that go over the Nisqually River are actually weight restricted. So a lot of the heavy traffic that needs to come down the I-5 will get off at the DuPont exit and go around and use this route as a way to bypass those weight restrictions. And that's part of the reason why this roadway sees a very high number of heavy vehicles. In fact, it sees 10% of the traffic on Nisqually Cutoff Road is considered a heavy vehicle. And that's significant because that's higher than most of our other roadways in Thurston County. The other important reason for this highway is that it's just used by a lot of vehicles. More than 5,000 vehicles per day use this system. And then, unfortunately, more and more, anytime an event occurs on I-5 in between the Nisqually interchange and the DuPont interchange, this section of Nisqually Cutoff Road becomes an I-5 detour route. So for all those reasons, it's an important piece of our transportation system. Next slide, Becky. So the bridge is 90 feet long. It's reinforced concrete. It's 3 spans. So what that means is that there's 2 intermediate bridge piers underneath that are holding the bridge up. The bridge was built in 1936, which seems old, but I think that's 85 years old, but we actually have a few of our bridges that are going to be turning 100 years old next year. So in relative terms, it's not that old. Next slide, Becky. So we became aware of the compromised bridge pier when a consultant was doing a load rating evaluation. And you can see over there on the right-hand side, what the consultant realized is that the concrete had delaminated. And what that means is that the concrete had separated itself from the reinforcement in the bridge. And in that picture, you can see some of the old square rebar that was help supporting that bridge. Unfortunately, that rebar was severely compromised, and we quickly determined that if we were going to keep the bridge operating as it was, a repair needed to be completed. Next slide, Becky. So this is what we came up with. So what you're looking at is a giant, I think it was about 36 inches tall, steel channel. And that channel is actually supporting all the loads that old concrete pier used to be supporting. And so what that allows us to do is to accommodate all the traffic that we previously had. So the bridge is fully restored in terms of weight carrying capacity. This project was completed in June. And on this next slide, you'll see that the total cost to provide this project was $125,000. $19,000 of that was for the consultant to design the repair. The construction project itself came in under budget and was $89,000. And all this funding came from the county road fund. With that, that's all I had for the presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Commissioner Mejia, anything for Matt?
So how much was the total project?
The total project was $125,000. And that includes all of county staff time. So I would say this was a pretty efficient repair for Public Works.
Okay. Thank
Commissioner
you.
Edwards?
Well, I'd just like to thank Matt for the good work they did and remind him that that bridge isn't so old, Matt.
Somehow I knew that was coming.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Matt. Appreciate
All right,
it.
thank you.
Let's go to the opportunity for the public to address the board. The Board of Thurston County Commissioners welcomes comments from the public at our board meetings. However, there are some guidelines governing such comments to ensure they are appropriate and do not take advantage of the fact that most meetings are televised. When called, please introduce yourself, including the area of the county in which you reside. Address the board, not audience or staff. Silence your cell phones. The board will not respond directly to public comment, but the county manager may follow up on an as-needed basis to specific items raised. Speakers are limited to a total of 4 minutes to address the board and may not donate any of that time to other speakers. Board reserves the right to restrict a person's opportunity to comment for good cause. No comments that are lewd, offensive, inflammatory, hateful, defamatory, or discriminatory are allowed. Please be respectful. No outbursts of any kind. No comments that are commercial in nature, such as promotion of a for-profit business, and remarks about pending land use permits or other similar matters that might come before the Board of County Commissioners on an appeal are permitted. Finally, all materials provided to the county may be considered public records subject to release upon request pursuant to the Public Records Act and state law, chapter 4256 of the RCW. With that, and then electioneering comments are also not appropriate. I've got two folks on the sign up. So the first two will be John Pettit with Terry Ballard on deck, and then we'll call for others in the boardroom and or on the Zoom.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm John Pettit. I live on Rich Road in Southeast Olympia. I took a look at your agenda setting meeting as far as and watched just a small little segment of it this morning when I walked into the place here. And one of the particular, I was pleased you addressed a couple things I brought up last week, which was the Veterans Fund and then also about minutes and ordinances. my quick look back into the Veterans Fund question is, I was watching it, and it appeared that staff pretty much was wanting to assure you that everything is wonderful. Well, I really kind of don't think it's probably so wonderful. I think that people might be painting a little bit of a picture for you. Because when I decided to look at the online, under the commissioners, it says the Thurston County Veterans Advisory Board. And on that particular spot, you have this nice little list here that lists all the players. And on that list, you don't show any members that are actually still active. They've all expired. Okay, that's a little concern. Who do we have on your advisory board? And I thought, well, that can't be completely right. So I decided to go back into your minutes and resolutions, and it looks like one of them that did get appointed expired July 17, 21. And the only one that looks like you might still have an active one on the entire advisory board might be William Powell, and he expires on September 30th of 21. You can't have a board of one person. And when I was watching, it looked like as though Mr. Moffett was giving this great direction about how wonderful things are, and the board's talking about things. Then I also looked at, I like to look at minutes. So I looked at the minutes for the advisory board. And it says here that the last minutes of any meeting that was held was January 27th of 2020. It says that the next meeting, this is right off your website today, your next meeting is going to be April 20th of 2020. So how can you have meetings if you aren't having any minutes? Employees have to appreciate the fact that they do have employers, and if they aren't doing the job or they're hiding things, they need to be removed. And you need to not be lied to about what the current situation is. You need to take a look. Now, the only other thing I'm going to address has to do with the minutes and the ordinances being listed up on the web. I was pleased to see suddenly we have a listing that indicates that we actually have some minutes, and we actually have some ordinances that have been listed since April. What I was surprised by, though, is that they're selective, which ones I get to see. And that sounds pretty funny. But one of the topics which you've had me get after you a little bit about has to do with the Medic One, and how you had an ordinance 16008, and then you created a new ordinance 16014. Well, here's a list of all of your ordinances that suddenly showed up. And amazingly enough, 16014 doesn't show up. It's not available online. Now, some people might think, what is this, some type of shadow government? Here's a copy of the ordinance. I happen to have gotten a copy, found a way to get one. But I think you need to start questioning whether you're being given the real and complete truth about what's going on. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next is Terry Ballard.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Terry Ballard, and I'm a 35-year veteran and live in Tanglewild, unincorporated Thurston County. A Jewish proverb, a half-truth is that of a full lie. Let me tell you some truth about Mr. Moffat's presentation that I downloaded today, okay? Indigent. Indigent doesn't mean you're poor, okay? He failed to recognize that one of the following types of public assistance, you could become indigent and get help, okay? And another one says, if you're unable to pay reasonable costs for shelter, food, utilities, and transportation because his or her funds are insufficient, okay? Unable to pay. I never knew that we were supposed to be paying, the homeless pay actually a fee to go into the homeless shelter. It's for people that can't pay. It's not a welfare program. And you'll find that in 73.08.005, number 3, A, B, and C. Next one, based on veteran, based on characteristics, looks nice. Time and service. Yeah, if you're 1941 or 42, time and service, sure. And a completion of initial enlistment. It's a bunch of crap. 73.08.0055B states that the Veterans Advisory Board, which is not supposed to be advising the health department, they're supposed to be advising the commissioners here, okay? The Veterans Advisory Board and county legislative authority can include servicing vets with additional discharge characteristics. A discharge. A dishonorable discharge. Guy needs help. Hey, you can do it. The Veterans Advisory Board, I'll skip. It's a little bit lengthy on that one. Recent policy changes. Increase income to 150%. You don't have to be poor. Okay, 500 to two grand max. Hey, I gotta pay some stuff, and 2020 was rough for people, especially veterans. Added a septic tank maintenance? I'm sorry, hello, septic tank maintenance? That only belongs to probably Tanglewild, because there's a lot of us there. Some vehicle repair? Hey, I already told you what it needs to be done, okay? Emergency amendment increased from 2,000 to 3,000, and they're just doing that now? Or did they do that in 2020 and fail to put it on their standard operating procedure? Added internet service? You know, this is just ridiculous. Trends. Oh, this is a beauty. This is a beauty sheet here. But let me tell you the truth. In 2020, you had a carryover of $586,000. Carryover. And with the revenue coming in was $457,000. That's a total of $1.043 million. 2021, let's go there. 2021, $888,000 carryover, $472,000 in revenue, $1.36 million going into this fund in 2021. Oh, and we could just spend, let's see, 2019, you totally spent $98,000. In 2020, you spent $39,000. In 2021, you spent $24,000. Thanks, guys. Okay? What are you going to do with the rest of the money? Give it all to the homeless and the poor to supplement your home extortion fund out of the Social Services Department? I don't think so. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ballard. Is there anyone else in the boardroom, County Manager?
No, not in the room, sir. Let me check the Zoom.
Got Tony Wilson.
Yeah, Mr.
Tony,
Wilson,
do you want to testify?
I'd like to provide testimony this afternoon. You have 4 minutes.
Not today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, then that should complete our public testimony. Let's go to County Manager's update, item number 2.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner. I was going to follow up on the public testimony that we received from Mr. Pettit last week related to the Veterans Fund. And he made a statement that in 2020, we spent just about $40,000 in services to the veterans. He's correct. That is what we spent. And this morning, I believe Mr. Pettit heard a little bit of the presentation from Mark Muffett, the Veterans Fund program manager. There were so many different reasons perhaps as to why we spent that short in 2020. And certainly there is many opportunities as to how we can increase the services to our veterans. And the commitment to Mark was to engage the advisory board to come up with proposals for the board to consider at a later date. So there is no really an excuse related to the amount that we have spent in 2020, and we're going to try to make the best to continue to provide services even more to the veterans in 2021, and that is the commitment. Also, the follow-up on the meeting minutes, and posting ordinances. We, Mr. Pettit as well as Mr. Ballard provided testimony last week, and they both are correct. We do have a backlog in the county. Recently, we hired additional help to help us come up with the backlog, and we'll continue to improve the system that we have in place. We also are looking to purchase a new application that will help us to better manage those minutes and ordinances. So I appreciate the feedback, Mr. Pettit and Mr. Ballard. Certainly there's opportunities for us to improve, and we'll continue to do so as we move along. Thank you.
Any comments from the board on that report?
No, sir.
No, I just hope we're headed in the right direction. I'll just let it go at that. Thank you.
I just follow up, I guess, two of the takeaways from this morning that Ramiro didn't highlight just now was just, one was the historical, I guess historically the Veterans Fund was going in the red, and so some changes were made, and now we're going to have to make adjustments to make sure we get it calibrated correctly. We don't want that money to sit. And secondly, to that end, a subcommittee, as I understood from Mark Moffitt, a subcommittee of the Veterans Advisory Board has been tasked with working through strategies for doing just that. So hopefully they come up with good results there, and we'll keep our eyes on that.
Chair, could I make a comment on something, please?
Sure.
On that topic, being we're discussing it a little bit. I think we need to do a lot better. We've had some deficiencies pointed out. It is my understanding that some of these committees that don't get replacements on them, the committee is still standing with the existing members until a replacement is made through the nomination process. I would just like to confirm that with the county manager if I'm right or mistaken.
That is a good question. And some other committees, let me double check if that is applicable to those committees. Based on Mr. Pettit's testimony today, I will look into the membership of the Veterans Advisory Committee.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
You bet. Thank you. Okay, let's go to the consent agenda, which is 3A through 3D. Is there any request to pull an item off of there, or do we have a motion?
I am prepared for a motion, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
I would move to approve consent items A through D.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Call for the vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. I didn't hear my name, but clerk of the board, I think your mic's not on, but. Okay. That's our last voting item, looks like today. We're going, so consent agenda items 3A through D approved unanimously. And that takes us directly to the section 4, titled County Manager. Item 4A is Commissioner reports on board work sessions, community events, or really anything that the commissioners want to report. We'll start with Commissioner Mejia.
Not much to report on. My committees are scheduled for these next 2 weeks. Just meeting with constituents and at board meetings. That's about it.
Commissioner Edwards.
I think I want to take just a moment to report on the most intense activity that I was involved in throughout last week and this weekend, I might add. And that is the COVID situation that we find ourselves in. And I think the biggest issue that my phone didn't quit ringing all weekend, apparently there was some public notice of the vote we took on Friday about imposing shot mandates, I guess, vaccination mandates. So I know we'll be discussing that, I believe, at next week's business meeting. I think that's on the agenda, I think, for next week.
It will be a resolution for the board to consider.
Yeah, okay. So that was the issue that took up the most of my time, including everything last week that was building up, and that was because of the governor's declaration what are we going to do? Then after there were several folks that knew we took a vote yesterday or Friday, and so that brought on a lot of discussion, and I guess more to come next week. Okay, that'll do it, sir.
Okay, very good. I had an opportunity to attend the Chehalis Basin Board meeting for the first time in a while as they worked through, I think they got an agreement, consensus worked out on their $70 million budget, which had been held up because of disagreements about various pieces of it. The lot board had a very interesting meeting regarding our cost of service study and comments that are going to be submitted to the Capitol Lake Department of Enterprise Services regarding the EIS, draft EIS, regarding water quality study that they have incorporated into that document. And basically, lot on the cost of study is reevaluating the ERU or equivalent residential unit, which is kind of the fundamental value on which rates and commercial rates are calculated. And we've delayed any decision on that, on whether we would recalibrate that after we get some more pieces of our study completed. And with respect to Capitol Lake lot, which of course their interest in the Capitol Lake changes there, estuary or managed lake or a hybrid, relate to water quality and the permit by which they're allowed to discharge into Butt Inlet. And so the comments there are kind of laser focused on the water quality analysis. Canvassing board is taking up some time as we navigate through the primary election, and there's going to be a hand recount in Yelm because the second and third finishers in District 4 were separated by one vote, and whichever one wins will go on to the general election, and the one that comes in third will not. So this week there'll be a hand recount. It's 257 to 256, I believe, for the second and third place in that race. So that'll be interesting to watch, and the public is invited to watch as that takes place over the course of the next week, and contact my office if you want that schedule. Climate Action Steering Committee set agenda for next week's meeting, and we're going to be going really deeply into the Phase 4 governance proposals. So that'll be an interesting meeting on Monday at 3. Broadband meeting with Washington State Association of Counties and State Broadband Office, trying to help the counties understand what resources and grants are available for local jurisdictions to expand broadband. And then engaging with citizens on the shoreline program, and that has taken up the bulk of my last week. So with that, we'll go to item 4B, the county manager reviewing our combined schedule.
Thank you, Commissioners. Let me walk you through your upcoming week of your combined schedule, where at least 2 commissioners will be present on those meetings. You may have individual appointments on your individual calendars. Those will not be part of my report. After you finish this meeting, nothing for the rest of the day. Tomorrow, Wednesday, August 18th, at 10 in the morning, you will have a briefing related to the long-term care policy plan, and that is related to this recent legislation that takes payroll reductions for long-term care and county employees. At noon, you have your standing meeting with your elected officials here in the county, and 1 in the afternoon, we have a meeting with the State Auditor's Office where we will get the exit conference related to the 2020 audit report for the county. Thursday, August 19th at 9 in the morning, you have a budget work session. On August 19th, on Thursday at 10:30, you have a follow-up as a Board of Health, a special meeting on the on-site sewage management plan. And 1 in the afternoon, Commissioner Messer, Commissioner Edwards will be attending the Thurston Mason Behavioral Health Administrative Service Organization Governing Board meeting. Moving on to Friday, August 20th at 8 in the morning, you have been invited to participate on the South Thurston Economic Development meeting. Nothing during the weekend Monday, August 23rd at noon, you have your standing meeting with the Washington State Association of Counties. And then you will convene back again on Tuesday, August 24th, 9 in the morning, where you will be reviewing the agenda for that day and the following week's board meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Ramiro. Anything else for the good of the order before we adjourn?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay, very good. We're adjourned. Thank you.